recording? So, greetings! Welcome to Gathering the Roll from, of course, February 20th, 2018. I am here as your host, Tantus Dracovin, to introduce you and show you through all of this week's tabletop releases from the various worlds of CCGs, RPGs, that's collectible card games, role-playing games, all the card games, party games, board games, everything that's out, including some interesting kickstarters. So, of course, we're going to dive right into our segments for today, and we're going to start out with our CCG binder, our collectible card game binder, because where we always stop with, of course, oh, whoops, on the wrong one. That's the end of the show. Magic the Gathering. It's not a show without me giving an error. Anyway, so today we just have one news story from Magic the Gathering. We have a tournament this weekend, the Grand Prix Memphis. So that's Memphis, Tennessee, and USA. So it is going to be a... give a drink here because, you know... sorry about that. Okay. It is a Rivals of Ixalan event. The registration for it is, of course, open now if you want to register. It'll have registration. It's actually standard. So that's Rivals of Ixalan, most of Ixalan, some of the Amonkhet block, Ixalan block, that sort of thing. It's a standard tournament. So, yep. It will have 2 days of events on Saturday and then Sunday. You get the official playmat, which is the image we're showing here. That's the official playmat image, so that you'll be able to get. You can, again, register online now. There'll be no Saturday main event registration, so you can register for the main event on February leading into it. It'll be $70 event registration for the main event, which is entrance to the Grand exclusive promo, Muted Vault, and some other things from Channel Fireball. So that's it right now. That's the only Magic thing up now. Let's, of course, move on, though, because we do want to talk a little bit about Skirmish Publishing has published Earthdog for 5th edition. So, it's the Chinese Lunar New Year in China during February, and it's a big celebration, and it's because it's, like, getting to, I think, the Year of the Dog. They're releasing the Earthdog. You know, in honor of the Chinese New Year, that's where they're releasing. They're elemental animals that look sturdy, formless, hairless mastiffs that vary in color from beige to brown to orange and even yellow. They're gregarious, lower, exuberant, respond well to life with various intelligent species, and are oftentimes kept as pets. So they're basically coming up with a special thing to enjoy the Chinese New Year of a special kind of dog monster you can add into your D&D games. So, you know, if you want to check it out now, it's 50 cents. So not a lot. Skirmish Publishing has put it out. It's just a little, like, creature entry kind of information. It's available now. You can check it out. And that's from our RPG bookshelf. We're going to be zapping through things here because we don't have a whole lot to talk about. So that was our RPG bookshelf. We're going to move on to our board game pile because we, in fact, really only have, I think, one actual entry in our board game pile. And that's this here, which I guess is more board game, which is Way of the Fighter, the 2 versions of it, Super and Turbo. So, Way of the Fighter is, it's now available from Ninja Division. It's, you're trying to really train, fight down. It's basically bringing the thrill, look, and feel of arcade-style fighting action to a tabletop. So it's supposed to be basically a fighting game in tabletop form. And that's Way of the Fighter. As I said, there's the 2 versions of it. Super, which is the expandable card game that captures the look of the arcade feel. 2 challengers, 1 arena, awe, close quarters mayhem, imbibes bluffing, resource management, and tactical positioning. It has 5 fighters in this one. You build your deck from multiple card techniques, allowing you to customize your favorite fighter and a play style that wants it. It has over 12 intense turns. Each player control the fighter's movements, manage their energy, decide on which actions they're going to have to battle it out and have a champion. The other version, of course, is Turbo. It has 5 other fighters, so that's an important thing here. It's got 5 different fighters, and I think that's really the main difference between Super and Turbo, is the sets of fighters are completely different. So if you want to have all 10 fighters, you get both. If you just want one set of fighters, you get one. Otherwise, the games play pretty much the same. So it's available now. You can dive into it, check out, see if you're interested in it, see if you want to check it out. Let's move on, though, to our card game desk, because we have actually more in our card game desk than anything else. And we'll start out with this one here, Tavern Masters. Now, this is a game that has been up on Kickstarter, and this is going to general release. That's an important part about it. It had been a Kickstarter game, and it's basically being sent out to distributors, so it can be delivered to all the brick and mortar game stores, and you can also kind of order it. So it's a fantasy card game, Tavern Masters, and it's available along with its first 2 expansions, Tavern Masters Dirty Deeds and Tavern Masters Game of Chance. So it's technically 3 releases in one here, but we're talking about the original. It's a quick play card game in the kind of fantasy realm of Destiny. Dan Chris Games' fantasy realm of Destiny. In Tavern Masters, players manage their very own fantasy tavern as they stock food, drinks, games, hire staff. Each day phase is an effort to earn gold from the patrons attached to their taverns. In each of the night day phases, and each night phase is basically earning gold from the patrons of the tavern. At the end of the round, where the player holds 20 or more gold, the game ends, the player with the most gold wins. So, as soon as someone hits 20 or more gold, the game is going to end, but whoever has the most gold. So, if multiple people hit that 20 or more gold, and one has more than the others, that person wins, basically, how it works out. It's basically made for first-time gamers. It's very simple, or for veteran tabletop people that might really love it, but it's got that simple rules, thematic art, and lots of replay value. And that's the point of it. So as I said, it and its 2 expansions are available now. It's for 1 to 6 players, technically, with your own challenges on the 1-player side. 20 to 30 minutes, ages 8+. And they do have some more upcoming expansions planned for it. The Dockside expansions and Innkeeper's expansions. So these 3 here, available. And you could definitely check out Tavern Masters. It's on a different side than a lot of these games, where you're basically running a tavern. Now this one's probably dice card game, I would call it, but I put it under the card game desk, just because it does have the card games. It's a new pack from Star Wars Destiny, because this is non-collectible card game. I can't remember the exact word we said for it. But the Star Wars Destiny basically has these packs, just like a lot of the things that Fantasy Flight puts out. They're expansions. They're treated almost like the expansions you would get for most role-playing games, only there's just this in the pack. So getting multiple packs doesn't help you. And this is the new one from Star Wars Destiny, Rivals. It has more of a kind of draft set with some dice and cards in it. It's kind of supposed to be a new way to play. And it's kind of like what if scenarios battles in the Star Wars galaxy is all about these. That's what these are. Everything in the Star Wars Destiny is what if battles in Star Wars. You know, what if this person fought that person, you know, etc., etc. So, yep. Give me a second here. Ooh, sorry. And of course, they have whole bunch of new cards, bunch of new stuff. Rivals is out now, which you can use to be, you know, follow the path of heroes or fall into villainy, you know. So definitely can check it out and all the cards that are available for it now. Let's just dive right in along, because we do have a little bit more. Game of Thrones, the card game, has Favor of the Old Gods, a new chapter pack. It's now available at the local retailers. It's, of course, kind of diving into the old traditions of the area of Game of Thrones. So this is the Flight of Crows cycle, and this is kind of the event of a Feast of Crows. So this is the beginning of it, the Flight of Crows cycle. This is the first one starting it. And they're going to be using banner agendas is the big thing here. New cards, the bestow keyword from the last cycle, new agendas for your players, new characters to add to it, and no matter which part of Westeros or Essos you sort of fairly do, the new cards will support your factions in favor of the old gods. So now it is available. You can check it out. Look at it. If you play the Game of Thrones, the card game, it's out now. All right. Eldritch Horror, Mask of Nyarlathotep expansion is out. It's the Mask of Nyarlathotep expansion for Eldritch Horror. Eldritch Horror being more of the card game version of the entire Arkham Horror, Cthulhu Mythos stuff that a lot of Fantasy Flight and such goes out with, and you know they have Elder Sign, which is their deck based one. Eldritch Horror is more straight up card based one, and of course this campaign this is the new expansion for it, the Mask of Nyarlathotep, with the ancient one Nyarlathotep being kind of Nyarlathotep. God, I've been butchering that. And it's basically dealing with Nyarlathotep, drawing on the strength of his followers and using it to activate its own dark things. It has some new investigators. It's got, your new ancient troubles, and the ancient gods defending on force. They got things like the Harbingers of the Old Gods, and various other calls, and it's basically more of the crawling chaos is what it is. You're basically out to stop the crawling chaos, we're trying to guide its kin from into our world from beyond the stars. It's the crawling chaos is basically being the messenger of the outer gods. So, you can check it out now. Now there's also Lord of the Rings, the card game, Attack on Dol Guldur. So this is the Fellowship event scenario from 2017, and it's available now if you want to get it. It's a scenario pack for Lord of the Rings card game that was featured at Gen Con 50 and the 2017 Fellowship event, and now it's on sale at the local retailers if you want to play it for yourself. So it's all about the attack on Dol Guldur. Wow, I'm having trouble saying that. It transports you and your company adherents to dangerous winterlands where you have a chance to align yourself with the great hosts of Lorraine as you try to free those from the necromancer's drovens, drive back the dark forces to seek to consume the Middle Earth. So your quest begins at Gold Woods. You fight along the assault of Dol Guldur, and there's plenty of characters, creatures, orcs, trolls, evil creatures you have to deal with. 4 indestructible lieutenants which you'll encounter, and Chieftain Morlog is basically what you're going to have to do and fight against. So if you wanted to try this out and you hadn't had a chance to at Gen Con or the events, now you can get it for yourself and play it for yourself. Let's move on, though, because we don't have anything in our party game box, party game closet, but we do have some Kickstart display that we want to talk about. And we'll start, of course, with The Reckoners. This is some media, you sometimes like when media gets turned into games. People love Lord of the Rings games. They love Game of Thrones games. They love some video games which get things like the Dark Swords Bold game and other ones. And The Reckoners is a cooperative board game based on the book series by Brandon Sanderson. And it's now up on Kickstarter. So it has 22 days to go. It has been funded. It's really reached nearly 200%. It's a cooperative board game based on those books. We're going to defend the city of New Cago and defeat Steelheart. See, I don't know anything about the games or the book series, so I cannot help you on that end. But it is 1 to 6 players, 75 minutes. The little bit of things that they talk about is 10 years ago, mysterious burst of sky gave ordinary men and women extraordinary power and called them epics. Every epic turned out to be evil. In the city once known as Chicago, now New Cago, a powerful epic named Steelheart reigned supreme. The Reckoners, that's where you come in. They're a group of normal humans who assassinate epics. Basically, a bunch of people got superpowers, but they all turn into villains. And you're a bunch of normal people that assassinate heroes. Your mission is to take down Steelheart and save the city. There you go. Pretty simple. Pretty interesting little concept here. They have multiple pledge levels. This is the standard, which gives you like kind of PDFs. 69 is the base one, where you get an actual copy of the game, some of the artwork and stuff, and all the stretch goals. There are some deluxe stretch goals that are excluded. They mentioned that particular, that for $99 you get the deluxe stretch goals and some extra stuff too. So that's what you might want if you want all the deluxe ones. But you can check all the stretch goals that they have to see if they are normal ones or deluxe stretch goals. They have 6 characters, of course. They've definitely got a bunch of stretch goals because, of course, you know, they've been gone above and beyond their pricing for now. So they're working on some more still. But if you've heard about the book series and you want to check it out in its game form, it's up on Kickstarter now. Funded. Alright. Couple more in the Kickstarter display. We have Blackwater Gulch. Oh. Why did that go back? I don't know. That was the best picture I've ever been. Blackwater Gulch, Minions and Monsters. So it's Blackwater Gulch. They're looking to expand their ranch of monsters and stuff again. And they've launched a Kickstarter campaigns for Minions and Monsters expansions, full of miniatures for all your all type of possessors. You got lawmen, you got outlaws, you got monsters, and you can check it out and of course pledge now if you want. It's a Western horror skirmish game, is what Blackwater Gulch is. It's set in the late 1800s, an alternate world where things certainly do go bump in the night. There are 14 days to go. They've reached about 75% of their goal. A little less than 75%. Actually, no, a little more than 75%. I'm sorry. 85 gets the collector, which gets 6 minions or monsters packs. For 18, you receive one of them, so that's all you need. If you really just want one pack, it's 18. It gives some deputies, bandits, native zombies, black-eyed children, jackalopes, chupacabras, a tiny lawman monster, the Jersey Devil, and Tunka, a beast monster. This has got some solo miniatures, which you can add in to it, including some lawman heroes, outlaw heroes, and things like that. If you hadn't gotten stuff for it cards, you can get the rule book and loot cards, the lawman starter pack, the outlaw starter pack, the beast starter pack, the curse starter pack. They've got some stretch goals, which they haven't unlocked because they haven't hit it on. Things like some other solo miniatures, cursed henchmen, a beast henchman, and an outlaw henchman, and more characters, and some bonus miniatures when they would reach 17,000, which isn't an impossibility. But if you're interested in an interesting horror skirmishing game, that's up now. Kickstarter. Aeons Legacy. So, Aeons Legacy. Legacy games are an interesting concept. You play, you permanently alter the game. It's quite an interesting thing that has been sweeping through the industry as lately. Basically, like Pandemic Legacy, as you play, you permanently alter the game. You can only really play it through the board kinda once. It kind of makes it a little difficult. And this is a new one that's been kind of put out. They're bringing this format to their Aeons End game, the Aeons End Legacy, a cooperative deck building game that's up on Kickstarter now. So Aeons End was a previous game that came out in 2016, which was a cooperative deck building game. And they're releasing basically, they released a standalone / expansion, Aeons End War Eternal, and they're growing it again with Legacy, a standalone game that also expands on the previous content. It's a full campaign where you build characters over multiple chapters, increasing their increasing their abilities, fighting against increasing powerful nemesis to defeat Gravehold, the last bastion of humanity. At the end of each of your games, you will find new upgrades for your to defend Gravehold. I said defeat Gravehold there, fun. The last bastion. At the end of your game, you'll choose new upgrades for your character and more powerful player cards to add to the market. At the end of the campaign, you'll have unique characters, new nemesis, new player cards, new basic nemesis cards to play with, and can play with indefinitely or play on with other Aeons and content release. If you like to play the campaign again, they offer a reset pack as an add-on, because that's an interesting and good thing to have in these legacy games, a reset pack, because it makes it that you can actually reset the game. And that's probably a lot cheaper than buying an entire new one. Anyway, it's 23 days to go. They've funded. They've almost hit 600% of funding. So they're way funding. You get a copy of it for $65. For $25, you can add 1 reset pack, $20 an accessory plat, and $25 a playmat to that pledge. Now they do have another pledge above there, which gives adds on some extra things. And the original one has any kind of stretch goals that would have on it. The Prodigy, which is 130, adds a couple of the expansions they're planning for this one and some other stuff too. So you can check that out also. So, not going to dive into how to play a lot. You know, it's a cooperative... Well, the blood drop and high play a little bit. It's for 1 to 4 players. It takes 60 minutes per chapter in the game. And you're basically struggling to defend Gravehold against the Nameless and the hordes and their hordes using unique abilities, powerful spells, and help of familiar characters. Probably from the original Aeon and stuff. Whew. And of course there's the expansions that they're planning out. The stretch goals. They funded it. They got some promo cards, a vacuum form insert, a new gem, new relics, new spells, tier 3 1 basic nemesis promos, card diviners for Wearer's Waves. They pretty much just add some new gems and new spells and new artifacts and stuff. And that's what they kind of have. A new gem, a new relic, and more stretch goals to come. So, yep. They will have some kind of promo-y stuff, and they do have a couple of Kickstarter exclusives on here. Not many Kickstarter exclusives for their stretch goals, let me let you know. All their promo cards and some of the things like that. They really only have, out of all their stretch goals, 2 Kickstarter exclusives that you won't be able to get anywhere but Kickstarter for this right now. So that's an important thing to say. Cool. Alright, so if you want to support this one, up on Kickstarter now. It is funded. It's just working on more stretch goals. Finally, we have Lexicon of Dueling, Japanese Katana. Well, technically, it's more Lexicon of Dueling. The Lexicon of Dueling is a card game that takes from actual fighting manuals of various types of weapons and puts them in your hand. They've created several decks of weapons for such weapons as rapiers, English longswords, and now they're getting the Japanese Katana. And this is the first of their Far East decks they have planned, and it's up on Kickstarter. So Legacy of Dueling, they've had these decks up before. Now this is the first time they're going to, of course, Japan. It has 10 days to go. It is about 2/3 of the way funded. So over halfway home. And for $25, you get 2 decks of the amazing new Katana. And it includes any companion hero stretch goals they achieve. A name will be placed on the website as a supporter. You get more as you go up in the stretch goals. Up into a $350 one if you really wanted to go with that one. But if you just want the basics, it's $25. It's a real-time, fast-paced card game that pits 2 opponents with swords and manuals of arms and styles of fighting against each other one-on-one, or even through multiplayer combat. So if everyone had decks, they'd have it. It's the first 3 decks were the cultures of Europe and the Middle Ages, and now they're going to Asia, starting with here with the katanas. It's introducing 3 new weapons, beginning with the katana blade. The other weapons will be announced later on and into next year. The manual can be used with Bastard Swords and the Manual of Arms from their introductory sets. I don't remember, James. We'll have to talk about that one. I'll have to think about that. It introduced new and original artwork from their Taylor Fisher and Yaya Han. The edition will feature new hero cards and full color gameplay. And they've got some stretch goals for some various things. As I said, the campaign is going pretty decently. 10 days to go. It might still get it. I'd keep an eye out of it. If you want to support it, go ahead. Definitely look for it. It's an interesting expansion to the Lexicon of Duelings, which has already been out. But that's actually it for our news for this week. This is a pretty short one. We didn't have a lot of news. So I thank everyone who came and joined me in the Twitch side. I thank all of you who are watching this on the YouTube side. Remember, if you want to learn more about some of these news topics and more, you can always join us on Discussing Tabletop this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where me, Worm, Joe, and sometimes some guests will discuss some of the topics, these topics of the week and others in the tabletop world, where if you have any basically questions, you could either ask them here in chat, or I'll just answer them. You could ask them here in chat for us to discuss on Discussing Tabletop. You can also contact us on my Twitch, my Discord, or you can email me at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com if you have any questions related to any of these news stories or more related to tabletop. Please send them our way. We love asking you questions about these things and more. If you're in chat now, you could also ask some questions too, but that is related to the stuff here. Anyway, I thank everyone who's joined me, and I will see you all, of course, next week.